And welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. We welcome Pastor Barry Carter and Ray Fate from Hammer and Nails. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
So changes taking place over at Hammer and Nails. We've had some folks retire and make some career moves, and now it has been handed into the very capable hands of you all. So let's talk about that. Ray, how did you get involved?
I definitely appreciate your enthusiasm. The longtime founder and the executive director for Hammer and Nails, she retired at the end of summer. And I was retiring from ComQuest after 24 years of service. And somehow I am now the executive director of Hammer and Nails. And it's fantastic effort, fantastic charity.
Yes.
And we just help folks all throughout Stark County with home repairs, maintenance, and cosmetics. If they suffer some kind of disadvantage, we're there to help them.
Were you a volunteer before you were employed there?
No, not there. But I used to be the director of housing rehab for Stark County many, many years ago, and so I have a interest in housing rehab. So when it came up, people knew my background and knew I have a history of fundraising.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, it's a nonprofit and it needs fundraising. So I'd rather be fixing houses 24/7, but that doesn't work that way.
Are you going to get a chance to pick up a hammer and actually do some of that work too, or mostly fundraising?
No, well, I brought Pastor Barry Carter on board to help us with the outreach, resource development in terms of volunteers and dollars. So that gives me a little bit more time to be out in the field.
So, Ray, you've been there officially how long now?
Since September 1.
Awesome. And Pastor Barry,
yes.
You are just wearing a lot of hats these days. And what drew you to this particular organization and ministry?
Well, Ray and I have been friends ever since the first miracle of Masson. We're waiting for the second one. But when the homeless shelter shut down in Masson, well, it was closed down because they were building the emergency room. I was pastoring in Masson. Ray was working for the homeless shelter with Community Services. And through those efforts and that turnaround that took place, Ray and I became friends. And this opportunity came open. And I said, yeah, I'd be glad to work with you. So.
And is your part fundraising as well?
Fundraising and getting volunteers. I'm the community engagement coordinator.
All right. That's what we really need, and that's why you're here today. We need some volunteers, don't we?
We do.
What are we looking for? What kind of a person makes the great volunteer for Hammer and Nails?
You know, what I'm really looking for is a whole lot of people to do a little bit each. I don't expect any retiree or person who wants to volunteer to come in and work at our place 5 days a week. Commit to half a day a week. Maybe commit to a half a day a week every other week. No strings attached. You come in, we go paint somebody's living room, and you go home for the day. And if we had a lot of crews, 2-people crews, 3-people crews, that could work during the week, because right now we do most everything on weekends, and you can only do so much. And that's all we're looking for. Somebody could hold a paintbrush. We do light carpentry and paint primarily.
So, I'm thinking there are teachers who retire in their early 50s. You've got a lot of retirees, 55, 60 years old, who are really still pretty young and energetic.
I agree.
And willing to do a lot and looking for things to do. Is that the person we're looking for?
Absolutely.
Do you need to have a lot of experience? What if you're just, you don't do that much painting, but you think, well, this would be fun?
Hey, we'll bring you along.
Is it training?
Well, no. Not officially,
but that was an honest answer.
But our staff is on site all the time, and so we like to, if we have youth groups come in, we like to use them on the outside of houses because they don't have to be quite as neat. But we would like to use a little bit more mature volunteers to do the inside work.
So, and that is what we're looking at right now during these winter months.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell us about the people you serve.
They could, they don't have to. It's not an income requirement with us. It's some sort of a disadvantage. Either they're handicapped physically, even emotionally. Maybe they have they're older. And the other thing is, even if you want to paint your house, you say you live in one of these 2.5-story houses in Canton. You need a 30-foot ladder to get to the top of those. Now, who's got a 30-foot ladder? Well, we do. And who should be 65 years old and going up on a 30-foot ladder? Certainly not me, and certainly not most homeowners. So it's anybody like that has a house that they can no longer find a way to repair it. And think of the poor lady who has broken porch steps, and there's 3 broken steps. She can't get on her porch. there's not a company in town you can call that's going to come out and give her an estimate and send workers out to fix 3 steps. But we'll go out there in one morning and fix the 3 steps.
What about some kind of little alteration that needs to be done? Suppose a wheelchair ramp or something like that. Is that something that can be done?
Yeah, we can do those kind of things. We had a lady recently. We didn't put the wheelchair ramp in, but when I got to know her, her husband was coming home from the hospital, couldn't come home till she had a wheelchair ramp built, and had it built in her garage. And she was very nice to us, came out and said, hey, my husband's passed away. Can you use the lumber for somebody else? So there's a lot of people who need wheelchair ramps, and their spouse or their relative can't come home until they get a wheelchair ramp. So we need people to build these wheelchair ramps. We need donations to fund the materials for it. And we're looking at a lot of different options. Lumber, the average wheelchair ramp is $3,000. And we can get aluminum ramps, which we can reuse. So we're looking at a lot of different options so we can help the people of our community. And with an aluminum one, we can use it over and over again. With a wooden one, and you put it in the ground, you only get one use out of that. Right. So we're looking at a lot of different options. But our whole mission is to help people. We're here to help people, to lift them, encourage them, and bless them.
We see it's interesting, the difference between your particular focus and the focus of, say, Habitat for Humanity, where you've got people starting from scratch, building homes, where the homeowner does help a little bit, put a little sweat equity in there, where you are taking existing homes and helping maybe people who are aging or infirmed in some way. I mean, houses are always screaming to have something done to them, aren't they?
I'll tell you, there's nothing you could do more dramatic in a rundown neighborhood than paint an entire house. It changes the entire look of the neighborhood. I mean, imagine these folks, we have these 70 and 80-year-old widows, and their husband worked at the mill, and they bought this house in Canton brand new. And it was fantastic, and but they've never moved, and they never wanted to move. But now the husband's been gone for 20 years, and this is what we see a lot of, and it just needs upkeep. And they want to stay there till they're gone, So we want to help them with that.
It is hard to leave your home.
Oh, yeah.
You're finding that the people, even though the home's, it's beyond them. They can't take care of it anymore. Yeah. But it is very difficult to pack up and leave those memories and go into some kind of a retirement situation. You're finding that? Do you find more and more people trying to stay in their homes?
Oh, there's the people who flee, and there's the people who stay.
Okay.
And there's a good number of those folks who stay, and if we can be the first step in that neighborhood, and by the way, we want to get out to every neighborhood, not just in the city of Canton and the city of Madison, but in Brewster, in Navarre, in Canal Fulton. There's homes everywhere that need some tending to. And we're here to cover all of Starr County. But you can start a ball rolling by fixing up a house in a neighborhood. Then the neighbors start thinking, we probably should spruce things up a little bit.
Let's talk about that. What does you start with one home and you really cosmetically make a difference? What happens to a neighborhood? What happens to neighborhood pride?
Well, in the Altman Hospital region, a lot of that's going on. There's a snowball effect going on down there, and people are looking to move back into that neighborhood from outside the city. And some of these homes the house we were in, we just relocated, but the house we were in for our offices, you couldn't believe if you walked through it. Inlaid floors, all wood trim, wood pillars. Really? It's spectacular. And they don't build houses like that, and if they do, you're going to be spending a lot more money than you want to.
So you're going into some homes that really were something. Think of some of the old mansions that are around that have been maybe parceled up into different areas that people are now sharing that space. But yeah, we've got some pretty incredible homes in this area. You're getting to go inside and fix those up?
Well, Canton was a very wealthy city at one time. I mean, there was a lot of big industry around here. And the homes built around the turn of the century, the craftsmanship is just unbelievable. The ones up and down Fulton, up and down Shorb, well, you could tell there was some serious investment in housing.
Well, and like you say, you couldn't build them now.
No.
I'm a member of the Massillon Women's Club going into Five Oaks. Oh, my goodness. Yeah,
right.
You couldn't build that now.
No.
And it's always amazing to me how the members take care of that. There's not a speck of dust in that place, and it's just amazing. But there is something about pride of home ownership, isn't there? Let's talk about that a little bit. How do these people feel when you leave and you've done your thing?
Well, I think they're blessed to have the work done. The most difficult thing is the demographic of our community. A lot of people are older. Their kids have moved away, so the kids aren't even here to help them. They feel alone. So not only are we helping in the house, but we're building a relationship with these families. You know, the people that volunteer, what we're hoping is they're just not going to paint a room. They're going to birth a new relationship. They're going to find somebody they meet that it won't just be a one-time painting somebody's room, that they'll build a relationship with these people and carry on a relationship. That's what we're really looking for, not just to paint a room. The whole emphasis of Hammer and Nails was to reach people for Jesus Christ. That was the whole mission. So painting, fixing things up, that's a wonderful thing. But these people need more than that. They need a friend. They need someone to come along their side and be a friend to them.
Have you seen that happening in your short tenure there?
Well, I've only been there a short time, but I've heard stories of people who were in great need. One lady had, I believe it was MS, couldn't do anything around. They painted the inside of the house. She had a spouting that was loose, and we were able to put the spouting back up, and she was just so immensely blessed to have someone there to help her. So those are, you think, well, just put somebody's spouting back up. That's huge. For someone that can't do that, and you could have damage to the drywall, maybe water would come in because the spouting's no longer there, or water gets in the basement. That's a burden to those people. They're worried about that, and they can't do anything about it.
Right.
So it's kind of a, we're what would you say, a home good Samaritan, where we help people with their homes,
Tell me how this looks, because when we're having the inside painted, we're not there. Who cares for these people while you're in there transforming the insides of their homes?
They're with us. We like them to get involved to the extent that they can. In some cases, what they do is they bake cookies for the volunteers.
Oh, how neat.
And sometimes they just, if they can't do anything, they'll sit on the front porch, and it's amazing the conversations that go back and forth. Well, we go into a house and maybe have a lot of kids in it, and I keep thinking, oh, these kids, they're in the way a little bit, but they're so funny, and they're so much fun with the stories they tell. Yeah. And I love it when the kids are around, and we show them something. We show them how to do this, or show them how to paint, or how to. We don't show them how to switch out a light switch or anything. We tell them why we shouldn't be putting their screwdriver in that light switch.
Yes.
But, it's fun. We did some concrete work at a house, and the kids were just like, hey, so you guys want to put your hands in the cement? They'd never heard of that kind of concept before. And say, well, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to fall in there? And I'm like, no, it's just in the top. And I go, can I wash it? Will it wash off? And it was just so funny that, something we do all the time with concrete. They had no idea people do that. So now their handprints are in the steps.
How precious that from now on those little handprints are there. You were Hollywooding it up for these kids. And they could do the whole hand in the cement thing. I think stories are our favorite thing of hearing about lives changed and touched by something so simple as, some of my favorite programs on TV are watching people just break down in tears when they see their house renovated, right. And you get to live this every day, don't you?
Yeah, and I wish we could do more. We have about 80 families right now waiting for us to get to them, and that's a lot. We only have 3 paid staff, and so if we don't get volunteers to help us execute these jobs, I can only do so many a week, and if without the volunteers, we're just going to have an 80-person waiting list forever.
Okay, no, that cannot be. We are going to work on this. 80 families waiting on the waiting list.
Yep.
How many houses do you do in a week?
Well, in a week, we probably do 1 to 2 houses a week, okay? But each house might have anywhere from 2 to 6 projects. A project might be replace the porch deck, and another project at that same house might be to paint the inside. So the scope of work varies. I want to do 100 projects. We came short of 100 in 17. I want to make sure we do 100 projects in 18.
All right, we're going to make sure that happens. We need to take a real short break here, but we're visiting with Pastor Barry Carter and Ray Fate from Hammer and Nails. And stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.